There's a new AI in your Slack workspace, and it's about to make your Slackbot look like a flip phone. Anthropic just announced Claude is coming to Slack as a native integration, meaning you can summon the company's most powerful AI directly from the channel where your team already works. No jumping between apps, no copy-paste, no waiting. Just type at Claude and ask it anything. Now here's the kicker, Slackbot. The automation tool that's lived in every Slack workspace for over a decade is basically obsolete. Not deleted, but like your phone's calculator app. Still there, nobody uses it. Claude's integration is Anthropic's first real move into the enterprise workspace race, arriving at the exact moment AI at work stopped being a novelty and became table stakes. Why this matters. Every minute your team spends asking ChatGPT in another tab is a minute they're not working in Slack, where all your context lives. By embedding Claude directly where your team already collaborates, Anthropic created a friction-free way for knowledge workers to use cutting-edge AI without breaking their flow. This isn't just a feature, it's a play for workplace dominance. And here's what most coverage misses: Microsoft, Google, and OpenAI already have Slack integrations, so Anthropic isn't inventing the category. They're just arriving with a much better product. Slack's been around since 2013, and from day one it was never just a chat app, it was a platform. Early on, Slack introduced bots that could automate simple tasks. Slackbot arrived as Slack's official automation assistant, handling basic stuff like reminders, notifications, and simple Q&A. Want to know your sales numbers? Slackbot could fetch them. Need a weather report? Slackbot had you. For a decade, that was enough. It handled the easy wins. Then ChatGPT landed in November 2022, and everything changed. Suddenly, knowledge workers realized they could ask AI questions and get intelligent answers in real time. The problem? ChatGPT lives in its own browser tab. You're working in Slack, your team's context is there, but you gotta switch apps. OpenAI felt this friction too and built a ChatGPT plugin for Slack. Microsoft did the same with Copilot. Google built a workspace AI. But here's what they all had in common. They built them fast, they built them cheap, and none of them felt native. They felt bolted on. Slackbot, meanwhile, evolved slowly. It became smarter, but it still couldn't do what these new AI could do. The gap widened every month. Anthropic watched this happen. They saw the opening, and they knew that Claude, trained differently, built with enterprise in mind, could do something these other integrations couldn't. Here's the cool part. Claude in Slack isn't a clunky plugin that makes you wait for an API to respond. It's a native integration, which means Claude runs as a first-class citizen inside Slack itself. When you type at Claude followed by your question, Slack sends that message to Claude's servers. Claude reads it, generates a response, and sends it back, all in a second or two. But here's what's different from, say, ChatGPT in Slack. The Claude integration preserves context. It can see the conversation history. It can read the thread. It understands who you are, what project you're on, what your team's been discussing. That context window is huge. Instead of asking Claude a bare question, you can ask it to analyze a thread of debate your team just had, or summarize customer feedback someone shared 5 messages up, or draft an email response based on the whole conversation. Claude's technical capabilities matter here too. The latest Claude model can reason through complex problems, write code, analyze documents, even generate images. Slackbot couldn't do any of that. The integration works across channels and direct messages. Summon Claude in a project channel and it sees the full conversation. Use it in a DM and it's just you and the AI. Slack's making money on this too. Anthropic and Slack partnered, so Slack gets a cut. But the real win for Anthropic, they are now embedded in millions of workspaces. Here's what this looks like in practice. Let's say your marketing team is arguing about campaign strategy in Slack. You're pulling numbers from 3 sources and the conversation's getting circular. Type at Claude and ask it to synthesize the data and propose 3 strongest options. Claude reads the whole thread, pulls out the facts, spots where people are disagreeing about assumptions versus facts, and gives you crisp recommendations in seconds. Your team moves faster. Or you're onboarding a new engineer. Instead of spending 2 hours writing a guide, paste the design docs into Slack and ask Claude to break it down into a beginner-friendly overview. Done. A sales team has a list of leads. Claude can score them based on company size, fit, and timing. A product manager has angry customer feedback. Claude can categorize it, spot trends, and suggest what to build next. These aren't hypothetical. Companies using Claude today already do this in other tools. The difference is friction. Right now you leave Slack, open another app, paste your data, wait, and come back. With Claude in Slack, you stay in flow. Your team's context is already there. Time to answer a question drops from 5 minutes to 30 seconds. That's not sexy, but it's powerful. And here's the thing that changes everything. Every company adopting Claude in Slack is training their teams to expect this kind of AI integration at work. So how does Claude in Slack stack up against ChatGPT, Copilot, and the others? Speed is one thing. Claude's fast with zero app switching overhead. Capability is where it really matters. Claude's reasoning is stronger. Ask it to debug code and it traces the root cause, not just the surface fix. ChatGPT's Slack integration is slick, but it was built for horizontal appeal. Good at many things, great at none. Claude was trained for enterprise. It's better at parsing long documents, reasoning through ambiguous requests, handling messy real-world data. Microsoft's Copilot in Teams is integrated into the Microsoft ecosystem. Calendar, Outlook, Excel all feed Copilot, which is powerful if you're all in on Microsoft. Most companies aren't. Google Workspace AI is similar, locked into Google's world. Claude doesn't care about your infrastructure. It works anywhere. Here's the benchmark. Claude scores higher on enterprise reasoning tasks than any competitor. It handles context better. It refuses fewer legitimate requests. And crucially, Anthropic trained it with constitutional AI, meaning it's designed to be less prone to the weird hallucinations and biases plaguing other models. It's also cheaper to run than ChatGPT at scale. This is why adoption's already starting. Teams are realizing they can get better results in Slack for the same cost or less. And here's the twist nobody expected. This might be the moment Claude overtakes ChatGPT in the workplace. This move is bigger than it looks. Anthropic is making a play for workplace dominance. Slack is where work happens, millions of teams, billions of messages, the context of business collaboration. If Claude becomes the default AI in Slack, the way Google became default search, Anthropic wins the workplace. They win mindshare, usage, and switching costs. Once your team's used to summoning Claude, switching to ChatGPT becomes friction. For Anthropic, this is growth through distribution. They've been focused on direct sales and APIs. Slack gets them into every workplace. For Slack, Claude brings premium value and revenue. They can charge more for workspaces wanting enterprise AI. For enterprises, the implication is stark. Workplace AI is no longer optional. If your competitor's team has Claude synthesizing, analyzing, and drafting, and yours doesn't, you're slower. Productivity gap becomes competitive disadvantage. This is why adoption will be swift. Companies are racing to deploy Claude in Slack before rivals do. Wall Street is watching too. Anthropic was valued at $20 billion at their last funding round. An integration this deep, embedded in Slack, reaching millions of teams, is the kind of moat that justifies a higher valuation. Every adoption metric matters for their next funding. But here's what the headlines aren't telling you. This is also Anthropic's insurance policy against becoming commoditized. Setting up Claude in Slack is straightforward. Go to Slack's app directory, search Claude, and install one click. Claude then appears as an available app. To use it, type at Claude in any channel with your question. Claude responds in thread. You can also DM Claude directly for one-on-one conversation. Claude retains context within DMs. For teams, the power move is using Claude in shared channels. Marketing can add Claude competitor analysis. Engineering can add Claude code reviews. Product can add Claude customer feedback. Everyone sees the response. That transparency is valuable. If Claude suggests something wrong, someone corrects it immediately. You can customize Claude's behavior with instructions. Claude, analyze feedback through the lens of user retention. Claude, prioritize architectural simplicity in code reviews. These instructions stick and shape how Claude responds. Pricing varies by team size. Slack handles billing. For small teams, it's negligible. For large enterprises running Claude constantly, it's a new cost line. But here's the math. If Claude saves one engineer 1 hour daily, that's 250 hours yearly per person. At $50 an hour, that's $12,500 in value. The integration cost is basically free. Multiply that across engineering, product, marketing, sales, support. But here's the kicker. Most companies won't even measure the ROI because using Claude will just become how people work. Here's what this moment represents. AI at work stopped being a novelty this year. It's now infrastructure. The question isn't whether your team uses AI, it's whether they use it efficiently within workflow or waste time jumping between apps. Claude in Slack is Anthropic betting the answer is the former, and they are probably right. Within 6 months, expect Claude in millions of workspaces. Within a year, it'll be as common as Slackbot. Competitive pressure will force Microsoft, Google, and OpenAI to improve their integrations. Copilot will get smarter in Slack. ChatGPT will get faster. The enterprise AI race just entered a new phase, from do we have AI to which AI is best at our actual work. For Anthropic, this is the start of their workplace dominance story. For Slack, it's a new revenue stream and a stronger moat against teams. For you, your job just got a new helper. Make sure you're ready. Claude in Slack isn't science fiction. It's shipping now and fundamentally changes how teams work. The companies that master it will move faster than their competition. Don't sleep on this. The AI workplace is here. The companies moving first win. What to watch for next? Expect Claude features to ship every month. Expect your competitors to implement it. Expect your own team to demand it. And expect your job to change.